Leonardo, thank you for making time for this. It's an honor to have you on my show.
Thank you, Sumitra. It's my
Okay,
pleasure.
yeah. Let's start with Oneworks, one of the most high-profile projects as of now, the metro project in Qatar. Tell me about the scale and vision of the project to start with.
Well, let me start with uh, s- the very beginning of the story.
Yeah.
Um, the very beginning is actually when we decided to open an office in Dubai without any work. It was just a decision out of our heart. It was 2000, ended 2010, and it took us actually 3 years to eventually get in contact with contractors, which were bidding for the construction of one part of the Qatar Rail. And this was really our beginning. So it was a design and build exercise based on a design book
Yeah.
prepared by UN Studio, a
Okay.
Dutch
Okay.
practice. And alongside with the contractors, we developed first the tender, and that was the big, sort of the big surprise when
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
actually won the tender, and we started from there.
Okay.
So this is the very beginning of the story of the Qatari, out of a decision which was merely a desire rather than a business decision.
So this was your first proposition in Middle East, or you had worked before?
Not really. We did a master plan in Mauritius
Okay.
in 2011,
Yeah.
and that was our very first project through the Dubai office. But Qatar was the thing that changed the pace in the Middle East and in the Gulf.
Okay. And what exactly was your role or OneWorks role in this project? What stage of the project did you jump in?
Well, we were the architects
Okay.
designing the stations,
Yeah.
7 stations. We started with 7 stations,
Okay.
7 standard stations, called them, which were part of the package the contractors won. And we were part of the team from the very beginning, because being a design and build exercise, the tender was about contractors
Yeah.
and designers.
Okay.
But of course, we were with other engineering firms, Covey from Denmark
Yeah.
and Italfer from Italy. And we were the only architects, all the rest were engineers. And at a point, we had some 30 architects on site in Qatar, in Doha, sitting together with hundreds of engineers and project managers, and of course, all the
Okay.
contractors.
And this project was a part of collaboration with some other design studio, or was it
No,
only
this
you guys?
was, well, as I said, we started from a design guideline
Yeah.
prepared by UN Studio, but UN Studio was not involved in this phase. Our reference was really Qatar Rail.
Okay.
Qatar Rail had a design office led by an architect, and he was our reference for the
Okay.
development of the
Okay.
design.
Uh, how long did this project go for?
Oh, 4 years. It actually then developed into two other projects in
Okay.
Qatar for two major stations, which are actually delivered directly to Qatar Rail. So there
Okay.
was a second stage of a project where we were working on the 7 standard stations. Eventually, Qatar Rail, for some reasons, maybe because we were doing a good job, decided to appoint us also for the design of two of the major stations.
All right.
And so the whole period, I think, was about 4 years. We also had a chance to, and we were invited by Qatar Rail to a competition to design what was called a transfer museum in the first phase, and they changed name.
Yeah.
And we won the competition and developed the full design. And then, unfortunately, after it was contracted out, they stopped the building of this other
Okay.
building. But no, we had the chance to win the competition anyway.
Congratulations on that. In this 4 year span of the project, what was your favorite moment or a breakthrough moment that will stay with you forever?
Well, when we won the tender,
Okay.
it was a big one. It was the biggest ever tender we won. So it was, and it was a major project, sort of world famous project. So we felt that we were proud to be part of it. So really, it was the very first day.
Definitely, it's a proud moment. When we talk about working on projects which are not in Italy or not in Milan, but in countries like Middle East or even in India, because I got to know that you were working also on a metro station development in India.
We are still working in Chennai
Okay, yeah.
for 11 metro stations.
So, what kind of logistical or creative challenges come across when you work in different settlements?
Well, the first one maybe is not really logistical, but really is understanding the environment you're
Yeah,
working with.
yeah,
And they're very different one to another. Working in Europe, working in the Gulf, working in India. But even within Europe, when you're working in Spain or working in
yeah,
Latvia,
yeah.
it makes a difference. Um, I think that the one of the keys is actually being present with a team, large or small, and as it is the case for India, working also with local architects and engineers.
Okay,
It was a bit different in Qatar, of course. Qatar is a different country, is a very small country with a very small population. So really being working with locals was not really exactly what you could do. But it is the case in India as much as it is the case in Saudi, where we tend to share parts of the work with local practices or practices from the country, because
yeah,
sometimes local is a bit diminishing the role of people. And we learn from them as much as I hope they learn something from us.
definitely. Do you face certain challenges when you work, collaborate with local teams in terms of design ideologies or design thinking? Because definitely the European way of thinking might not match with Indian or Gulf way of thinking.
Well, of course, there are differences.
Yeah,
I'm not sure whether the main differences are actually technical, but the environment changed the sort of relationship between the design and the people,
yeah,
and different expectations, different aspirations, different habits put a challenge on the relationship, I have to say. Every country has its own traditions, and I think this is why I believe that sitting also there is relevant to understand. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to understand why people behave in a particular way
yeah,
if you're
yeah,
not kind of accustomed to the environment.
yes,
But as much as it is a challenge, and I'm not denying it is a challenge, it is also something that would enrich your personal and professional experience. So
definitely.
it is a challenge, but it is a challenge everywhere anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's increase the scale of our conversation a bit. When we talk about the development of these transport related infrastructures like metro stations, railway stations, or even airports, we know transport is the backbone of an urban development of the city. As transport evolves, the city evolves alongside it. So, do you feel when you design such spaces, do you also feel the pressure that you might be changing the way people move in the city? And do you get an additional responsibility alongside?
It's not just how that we think that we might change the way people move across a city. Is also, I think, as architects
Yeah,
working also with transport, we believe that we're still doing space, we're still designing spaces for people.
definitely. Yeah,
It's not just because people pass by, it's also an experience on its own. And it needs to be strongly related to the context and is just part of the city. It's not just a technical tool to allow people to go from A to B.
yeah,
It's an experience on its own and is an opportunity for cities. You said that uh, as transport evolves, cities evolves. It's also true the other way around.
definitely. Yeah,
As cities evolve, then transport evolves as
yes,
well. So, is one part of a city is the, as you say, the backbone of a city, and it needs to be part of it. It's not just it's not a medical tool
yeah,
to try and help people moving. Is exactly part of the city. It's part of the fabric of the city, And this is, I suppose, what we're trying to do through our work.
Great. Okay. Since we are talking about international projects, let me ask you this. When OneWorks was envisioned, was it always planned that this was going to be a global studio? Or in the beginning, there was a different vision, and then as the scale evolved, you expanded to a global limit?
Well, Giulio, which is my business partner,
Yeah,
and I graduated together in 1986, I suppose. And we were dreaming as we were students. And one day we shared the idea that if we ever had a practice together, we would call it the mobile practice. So I believe that wasn't really a business decision, but there's always been a desire of ours to be a practice working across
yeah,
parts of the world, or trying to have opportunities across the world. And I think it's also about curiosity and the desire to understand also other environments and getting mixed with them. So it really is, I suppose, a desire from the university period.
okay.
It took a while to get there, though.
Was there some vision that or principle that you started with and now it has changed, or some principle which has stayed with you forever?
Well, I suppose the principle which we've always shared, and I'm not sure whether that was a sort of a decision or
Yeah,
just part of our soul, is to be architects working with projects which not necessarily always involved architects. And so taking the opportunity to actually work with things which should give us the opportunity
yeah,
to work as architects,
yeah,
but within an environment which was a kind of a leftover in the thinking of architecture at the time where we were students.
yeah, yeah,
Don't forget that we started across the 80s, well, the first half of the 80s, and these things were not really the focus of architects at the time. At the time, now they've become more popular,
yeah.
but they weren't at the time. In a way, we started from the garbage, we like to say.
Okay, that's an interesting anecdote.